Right now, there are 5 rules buried inside the Social Security system that could put tens of thousands of extra dollars into your retirement. They're not illegal. They're not loopholes. They're written right there in the federal code. But the Social Security Administration will never call you up and say, "Hey, did you know about this?" They won't send you a letter. They won't flag it on your statement. And because of that, millions of Americans are retiring right now, with checks that are hundreds of dollars a month smaller than they need to be. Not because they didn't work hard enough, not because they didn't save, but because nobody ever told them these rules existed. And that's what makes this so frustrating. The difference between someone who retires on $1,700 a month and someone who retires on $2,800 a month often comes down to knowing 5 things that the average person has never heard of. 5 decisions. 5 moments where you either leave money on the table or you don't. And once you miss some of these windows, they're gone. You can't go back. You can't undo the filing. You can't rewrite the math. So let's go through all 5 of them right now, starting with the one that affects more people than any other, but almost nobody ever checks. Most people assume that Social Security looks at your entire career when calculating your benefit. Like, you worked for 40 years, so they take all 40 years and average them out. That sounds logical, right? But that's not how it works. The Social Security Administration only looks at your 35 highest earning years. That's it. They take those 35 years, adjust them for inflation, add them all up, divide by 420 months, and that number becomes your average indexed monthly earnings, your AIME. And your AIME is what determines your monthly check for the rest of your life. Now here's where it gets interesting. What happens if you didn't work for 35 years? What if you took time off to raise children? What if you went back to school in your 30s? What if you were out of the workforce for 5 or 6 years dealing with a family situation? The Social Security Administration doesn't care. They still divide by 35. But for every year you didn't earn income, they plug in a 0, a literal 0. And those zeros are averaged in with everything else, dragging your entire calculation down. Let me put some numbers to this so you can see what it actually means. If you earned the equivalent of $60,000 a year, adjusted for inflation, for 35 straight years, your estimated benefit at full retirement age would be around $2,346 a month. But if you only worked 30 years instead of 35, those 5 zeros get averaged in, and your benefit drops to roughly $2,112. That's a difference of about $234 every single month. Over a 20-year retirement, that's over $56,000 that just vanished. Not because you didn't earn enough, but because the formula punished you for taking time off. And here's the part most people miss. You can fix this, even after you've technically retired from your primary career. If you have fewer than 35 years of earnings on your record, every additional year you work, even part-time, replaces one of those zeros. And because those zeros are the lowest numbers in the equation, replacing even one of them with a modest income can bump up your monthly check permanently. Let's say you take a part-time job earning $25,000 a year. That $25,000 replaces a 0 in your calculation. You might only gain $40 or $50 a month, but that's an extra $600 a year for the rest of your life. Work 2 more years and replace 2 zeros. Now you're looking at over $1,000 extra per year, every year, until the day you die. But it doesn't stop there. Even if you already have 35 years of work history, this rule still has teeth. Because if you're earning more now than you did in your 20s or early 30s, your current income can push out one of those lower earning years from decades ago. The formula always keeps the top 35. So if your salary today is higher than what you made in 1994, adjusted for inflation, then working one more year literally upgrades your benefit. The Social Security Administration automatically recalculates this every year. You don't have to file anything. They do it silently in the background. But only if you keep working. The moment you stop, the numbers lock in. So before you walk out the door on your last day of work, go to ssa.gov, log into your account, and look at your earnings history. Count the years, count the zeros, count the low years. Because that one check could reveal whether an extra year or two of work would permanently raise your monthly income in retirement. Now let's talk about the second rule, and this one can literally increase your benefit by 24% or more. When you reach your full retirement age, which is 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later, you have a choice. You can start collecting your benefit right then, or you can wait. And for every year you wait past full retirement age, Social Security adds what's called a delayed retirement credit. That credit is worth 8% per year, not 8% total. 8% per year. Compounding. So if your full benefit at 67 is $2,000 a month and you wait just 1 year until 68, your benefit jumps to $2,160. Wait until 69? $2,320. Wait until 70? $2,480. That's a 24% increase on a benefit that already adjusts for inflation every year through the annual cost of living adjustment. You're not just getting a bigger check. You're getting a bigger check that keeps getting bigger. And what a lot of people don't realize is that these credits are calculated monthly, not annually. You don't have to wait a full year to earn any credit. Every single month you delay past your full retirement age adds 0.2% to your benefit. So even waiting 6 extra months earns you 4%. That's real money for the rest of your life. But here's where it gets really powerful. Let's say you already started collecting at 67 because you thought you needed the money. And then, 6 months later, you get a part-time consulting gig. Or your investments did better than expected. Or you got an inheritance. Suddenly, you don't need Social Security to cover your bills. Most people think it's too late at that point. They think once you start, you're locked in. But that's not true. If you've reached full retirement age, you can call Social Security and voluntarily suspend your benefit. Your checks stop. But while they're stopped, delayed retirement credits start accumulating again. 8% per year, up to age 70. So if you suspend at 67 and restart at 70, your benefit permanently jumps by 24%. This isn't a temporary bump. It's baked into your check for life. And every future cost of living adjustment compounds on that higher base, which means the dollar difference between your old check and your new check gets wider every single year. Now there's one important catch. When you suspend your benefit, anyone who's collecting on your record, like a spouse receiving spousal benefits or a dependent child, their payments stop too. The only exception is a divorced ex-spouse. They keep getting paid. So this strategy works best for single retirees or for couples who plan together and understand the trade-off. But for the right person, voluntary suspension is one of the most powerful moves in the entire Social Security system. The third rule is one that shocks people every time they hear it, and it involves divorce. If you were married for at least 10 years and you are currently unmarried, you may be entitled to Social Security benefits based on your ex-spouse's earnings record, not your own, theirs. Even if you've been divorced for 20 years, even if your ex has remarried, even if your ex doesn't know you're claiming. And here's the part that really gets people. Your claim does not reduce your ex's benefit by a single penny. It doesn't affect their check at all. It doesn't affect their current spouse's benefit either. The money comes from the system, not from their account. The amount you can receive is up to 50% of your ex-spouse's full retirement benefit. So if your ex is entitled to $3,000 a month at their full retirement age, you could receive up to $1,500 based on their record. Now, Social Security will always pay you the higher of either your own benefit or the spousal benefit. If your own work history gives you $1,800 a month and the spousal benefit would only be $1,500, you stick with your own. But if you took years off to raise the kids while your ex built a career and your own benefit is only $900, that $1,500 from their record is a massive upgrade. And it gets even more interesting than that. Social Security allows unlimited divorced spouse beneficiaries on one worker's record. Let's say your ex-spouse was married 3 times, and each marriage lasted at least 10 years. All 3 ex-spouses can claim benefits on that one person's record simultaneously, and none of them affect each other. Each benefit is calculated independently. The system doesn't care how many people are claiming. It cares whether you meet the requirements: married at least 10 years, currently unmarried, and age 62 or older. But here's the rule within the rule that most people miss completely. If you remarry, you generally lose eligibility for that divorced spouse benefit. However, if your second marriage also ends through divorce, annulment, or your second spouse's death, your eligibility from the first marriage comes right back. And if your ex-spouse passes away, something even bigger happens. You become eligible for survivor benefits instead of spousal benefits. Survivor benefits can be up to 100% of your ex's benefit amount, not just 50%. And you can start collecting survivor benefits as early as age 60, which is 2 years earlier than regular spousal benefits. If you remarry after age 60, you still keep the survivor benefit. That's a rule that catches even financial advisors off guard. So if you were married for 10 years or more at any point in your life and you are currently divorced, go check your ex's approximate earnings history. You don't need their permission. You don't even need to tell them. Just contact the Social Security Administration and ask what you might be entitled to. The answer could change your entire retirement. Now let's move to the 4th rule. And this one involves a situation that tricks nearly everyone who encounters it. If you claim Social Security before your full retirement age and you're still working, the Social Security Administration will withhold part of your benefit if you earn above a certain threshold. In 2026, that threshold is $24,480. For every $2 you earn above that amount, they take back $1 of your Social Security benefit. And in the year you actually reach full retirement age, the limit goes up to $65,160, and the penalty drops to $1 for every $3 over the limit. When people see their checks getting reduced, they panic. They feel like they made a mistake. They think they're being punished for working. Some people even quit their jobs to avoid the penalty. But here's what almost nobody understands about this rule. The money they withhold is not gone. You are not losing it. The Social Security Administration is holding it. When you reach full retirement age, Social Security looks back at how many months your benefits were withheld, and they permanently recalculate your check upward to account for those months. Let me say that again. They increase your monthly benefit for life to make up for the months you didn't get paid. It's as if those months of reduced benefits never happened. Your check from full retirement age onward is permanently higher. So here's why this matters. If you're 63 and still working, and you claim Social Security, and they withhold 4 months of benefits because you earned too much, those 4 months get credited back to you later. Your monthly check from 67 onward increases to account for those 4 withheld months. Over a long retirement, you end up getting more total money than if the withholding had never happened, especially if you live past your early 80s. It's not a penalty, it's a deferral. But because it feels like a penalty in the moment, people make bad decisions around it. They stop working. They reduce their hours. They leave money on the table because they think the system is punishing them, when in reality, it's adjusting their future benefit upward. The 5th rule ties all of this together, and it's the one that most financial planners consider the most sophisticated move in the Social Security playbook. It involves switching between benefit types at different ages. And while the old file and suspend loophole was closed in 2016, there's still a powerful version of this strategy that works today, specifically for widows, widowers, and surviving divorced spouses. Here's how it works. Let's say you're a 60-year-old widow. Your deceased spouse had a strong earnings record and would have been entitled to $2,500 a month at full retirement age. You also have your own work history, but your benefit based on your own record is only about $1,400 at full retirement age. You have two separate benefits available to you: your own retirement benefit and a survivor benefit based on your late spouse's record. The strategic move is this: you can start collecting the survivor benefit as early as age 60. Yes, it will be reduced because you're claiming before full retirement age, but you still get a monthly check. Then, while you're collecting the survivor benefit, your own retirement benefit continues to earn delayed retirement credits. You let it grow. You don't touch it. At age 70, when your own benefit has maxed out with those 8% annual credits, you switch. You drop the survivor benefit and start collecting your own, now permanently boosted by 24% or more. Or you can do it in reverse. If your own benefit at 62 is decent, but your survivor benefit would be much larger at full retirement age, you start your own retirement benefit early, take the reduced check, and then switch to the full survivor benefit at your full retirement age. Either way, you're collecting one benefit while the other one grows. This works because Social Security treats retirement benefits and survivor benefits as two separate pools. You can collect from one without affecting the other. And unlike spousal benefits, which are automatically coordinated with your own retirement benefit, survivor benefits give you the freedom to choose which one to take and when. The numbers on this can be staggering. In the first scenario, where you take the reduced survivor benefit at 60 and then switch to your own maximized benefit at 70, the difference over a 20-year retirement compared to someone who just took whatever Social Security offered first can be $100,000 or more in total lifetime income. $100,000 just from knowing the order in which to claim. And this isn't limited to widows and widowers who were married at the time of death, divorced spouses who were married for at least 10 years and whose ex-spouse has since died qualify for the exact same strategy. Survivor benefits, not spousal benefits. Up to 100% of the deceased ex's benefit, claimable as early as age 60. And if you remarried after 60, you still qualify. That combination of rules is something that maybe 2% of Americans even know exists. So let's bring all 5 of these together. If you have fewer than 35 years of work history, every year you work replaces a 0 in your calculation and permanently raises your check. If you've reached full retirement age, every year you delay past 67 adds 8% to your benefit, and you can even suspend your current benefit to earn those credits. If you were married for at least 10 years and are now divorced, you might be entitled to up to 50% of your ex's benefit without them even knowing. And if they've passed away, that jumps to 100%. If you're working and your benefits are being withheld, you're not losing that money. It's being credited back to you in the form of a permanently higher check at full retirement age. And if you're a surviving spouse, you can collect one type of benefit while letting the other grow, and then switch at the perfect moment to maximize your lifetime income. 5 rules, 5 decisions. And together, they can mean the difference between a retirement where you're counting every dollar and a retirement where you actually have room to breathe. The Social Security Administration will process your claim no matter what, but they'll process it exactly the way you file it. They won't tell you there's a better option. They won't suggest you wait. They won't mention the strategy that could put an extra $100,000 in your pocket over the next 2 decades. That part is up to you. And if you're sitting there thinking you might have already made a mistake, there's one more thing you should know. If you filed for Social Security within the last 12 months and you realize now that you should have waited, you have the option to withdraw your application entirely. You pay back everything you've received, and it's as if you never filed. Your benefit resets. The clock starts over. It's not easy. It's not painless. But for some people, it's the smartest financial decision they'll ever make. The system isn't designed to work against you, but it's not designed to work for you either. It's designed to work exactly the way you tell it to. And the people who tell it the right things, at the right time, in the right order, are the ones who retire with dignity instead of stress. If this is the first time you're hearing about any of these rules, you're not alone. The majority of Americans file for Social Security without ever learning what you just learned in the last 15 minutes. Share this with someone who's approaching retirement. Share it with your parents. Share it with your siblings, because the window to make these decisions doesn't stay open forever, and once it closes, the math is final.